Hey fam, welcome to another episode of Good, Bad, and Ugly with Jose. Got a good treat for you today. New friend of mine, Phil Brooks. Woo! What's going on, Phil?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm just enjoying life. How about you, Jose?
Definitely. I tell everybody, so the day that I got 2 feet on the ground and I'm upright is a good day. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Amen to that.
So we like to start every episode just asking the guests to introduce themselves, share their real estate journey. So, you know, tell the floor is yours. Tell us about you and how you got into real estate.
Yes, so my name is Phil Brooks. I'm married with 3 kids. I'm from Buffalo, New York. Currently live in Dallas. Just moved to Dallas because of the cold. One thing, but to be closer to the assets we currently own, to be able to I don't operate them fully. I do manage property managers, but I just wanted to be closer to the assets that I currently closed or own, so I could, if I need to get there in a hurry, I can, right?
Yep.
But my journey, so I come from, when I say nothing, Jose, man, I grew up dirt poor. So my dad used to have a construction company, and he used to take us to see, because he used to do a bunch of remodels and stuff like that. So that used to excite me as a kid. I used to love to see that stuff, the before and afters.
Right.
Then one day my dad lost everything and he couldn't cope with it and he turned to drugs.
Okay.
And we grew up kind of, we had to move with my grandparents, grew up kind of poor. She owned the house, but it was like a bunch of us living in one house. But
Sure.
it was rough. And I used to be at my friend's house and I used to watch my dad come buy drugs there.
Yeah.
And and at that time, I knew that's a person I didn't want to be like.
Right.
But on the other note, I was looking up to the people, parents and stuff who were selling them the drugs, and like they had everything, right?
Right.
So me wanting to be like them landed me in prison.
Okay.
And the crazy thing, Jose, the craziest thing is, even though I was in there, I couldn't see my family. I couldn't talk to I couldn't do anything on my own without getting permission, right?
Right.
I still had plans on doing the same thing that got me there, because in my mind, that was my identity. In my mind, that's all I knew, right? I seen it for all these years. And I used to read book. I used to still was a reader, but I used to read horrible stuff like Kingpin books, man, documentaries, anything to be better at what got me there.
Sure.
Till one day, this correctional officer, he threw this book on my locker. And I looked at this book and I'm like, what is this? Me and him never talked before unless he called me for a visit or mail.
Right.
Me and him never really had no real conversation unless he was telling me to do something.
Sure.
So to see this book, and I'm like, what is this? And I just toss it back in my locker, and I go back to reading the other stuff I've been reading, the Kingpin
Sure.
books and stuff. Till one day I ran out of stuff to read,
Mm.
and I picked this book up, and it was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Ever
Yeah.
since then, I threw all my hood books away, all my documentaries, all my Kingpin books, and I was reading all self-development books, Think and Grow Rich, Richest Man in Babylon, business books, all Robert Kiyosaki books. And it just changed my whole mindset. And I asked that correctional officer, it's funny, I asked that correctional officer why he threw that book on my locker. And he told me, I just knew you would read it. To me, God sent it, right?
Right. Absolutely.
He sent that book. So I'm gonna tell you how great God works. So I used to talk to my dad on the phone, telling him all the stuff I was gonna do when I come home, Jose.
Yeah.
And he's listening, he's a talk, he's like, yeah, yeah, okay, good, good. I came home and my dad looked at me and he said, you sounded different. So I wanted to be different. And he went cold turkey, never touched another drug again. He
When
got it.
you got home, or he did that before you got home?
He must have started the process before I got home.
Gotcha.
When I got home, he was already clean. And he told me he wanted to be different when I came home. And the
Right.
same person I didn't look up to and look down on became my hero because I've never seen nobody do that before.
Right.
Now, and so now how I got into real estate, right? I'm sorry. I just wanted to give a little backstory.
No, you're good, man. This is open floor. Go for it.
Yeah. So he went cold turkey. So he used to have a construction company and he was a pastor at his church. He got his church back and he already given back to his community and his world that to people that was on drugs because he can relate, right? Now he can relate. So now he's able to give back and he got his church back. So that's one way God works. So my mind, I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna buy one house a year, right?
Okay.
Get some money, and if I buy 1 year, I can get some cash because I'm thinking like rich dad, poor dad, get some assets and blah blah,
Yep.
some cash flowing assets and things like that. So I never had a job before. I came home,
Oh, interesting.
I got a job. It was $9 an hour, right? $9 an hour.
Now let me ask you this question: how long ago was that?
This was in 2011.
Okay, just to put in people's perspective, because nine, that's kind of low.
Yeah,
Okay,
2011. I came home. Yeah,
gotcha.
and I got a job at this place called NutriBlend,
Okay.
and it's a protein place, and all I did was at that time was put a scoop in a bottle as it came down the conveyor line,
Okay.
right? And I used to be like, oh, it's just my time used to go slow, but it was a job, right? I
Right.
had the motivations behind it because I planned on buying real estate, so I needed it.
Yeah.
But every time the line used to go down, they used to send us to the break room and then to make the time go even slower. So what I used to do is I used to follow the mechanics around and they was making like $35, $40 an hour. And every time they used to fix the machine, I used to watch them. So now when the machines go down, I used to hurry up and fix it so we ain't have to go to the break room and let the time drag out, right?
Sure.
Other people used to be mad at me, but I was just like, man, I'm just trying to
Get that
keep the
paper.
time going, right? So what happened was it produced productivity, right? And the mechanics can go focus on another line and fix that and not have to come to our line and to produce that productivity in that area as well, right? And people used to come to me, ask me how to do stuff within 90 days of never having a job before, Jose. Just for me doing more than I was getting paid for,
Yeah.
I got promoted to running third shift supervisor, like 30 to 40 employees under me,
Hmm.
70,000 a year salary. 90 days later, never having a job before.
And I'm gonna
That's
I'm gonna ask you a little personal question here, but despite your history, they had no problem with that, right?
despite my history,
So
because they looked at who I was instead of who I became instead of who I was. I would
gotcha.
trust me, that person who was working in that factory was a whole different person that walked out them gates,
Yeah.
you know. So trust me, everybody who encountered that knew that.
Nice.
So that first year, I got promoted within 90 days. That first year, I bought 2 houses. They was
Okay.
from the auction. Now, I knew nothing about real estate. I had my dad who knew a little bit. He haven't done construction in years though, right?
Right.
And I'm like, all right, I got one for $5,000 with me and my buddies went into together, right? Got one for 5,000 and the other one for 2,500. But they both, of course, needed rehab and they wasn't in the best areas. But
Right.
I still saved and worked hard and bought it, right? So one of them burnt down a week later after we bought it, and we
Oh
didn't have
wow.
no insurance.
Uh-oh.
We learned a lesson, a
Yeah.
real estate lesson, right? We but we ended up on the other one fixing it up, renting it out for a little while. I ended up selling that in 2022,
Okay.
and I made a pretty good profit on it, even though I held it because I held it. And guess who did the rehab?
You and your dad.
My dad did the rehab.
Hmm.
So that's how God definitely he works very, very well. And I know he blessed me, you know. So the way I look at it is he didn't give me what I got. He ain't put no visions in my mind not to give it away to others. So I'm just trying my best to reach out to as many people as I can to help them get along the way in real estate as well, Jose.
Well, I'm a true believer that um, we we have to go through some trials and tribulations before we get to, so that we're ready for when God's plan goes into action. We're ready for that. You know what I'm saying? Because from my own personal experience, I thought I was ready 2 or 3 years ago, and I feel like within the last 6 months, my relationship with God has gotten so much stronger. That my mindset's different. That when I'm reading the Bible and it's talking about, he'll give it to you and you're ready on his time. Just be patient. Don't give up. Don't give up your faith. And I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing, like, okay, you're right. 2 years ago, I wasn't in the right mindset. I wasn't ready for the grace and gifts that you're trying to bestow on me. You had to let me go through this stuff, you know, so that I can be ready for that gift that you're ready to give me. So I definitely know where you're coming from, and feel you on that, because I feel like this year is going to be my year, because um, my mindset is better, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna tell you something. He's the giver that keep on giving. So my goal was to buy one house a year for 10 years and live off that income, right? I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I can live modestly and live off that income. The house burned down. I got two the first year, house burned down. I ain't getting no more until 2017, right?
Hold on a
I got
second.
one in
Hold on
2011.
a second. I think I got you again. I had you on my side. It was uh, still loading.
Gotcha.
Go
You all
ahead.
set?
Yeah, we're good. Go.
Yep. So I ain't get my next house until 2017 because now I'm working. I got a new job. I got new responsibilities. I really dove deep into working and lost track of what my goals really was, right?
Gotcha.
And I bought my second one and about 6 years later. But when I bought the second one, I was more ready to get ready to retire. I was tired of working all them long hours and
Sure.
stuff like that. So now I'm looking for what I've been new, get back into real estate, got back to reading my books, my rich dad poor. I got back to the basics.
Yeah.
And I ended up meeting a mentor. And he asked me, why buy one house a year when you can buy one apartment building with 10 apartments in it and accomplish your goal in 1 year that you set out to do in 10 years?
Hmm.
Blew my mind, Jose, right? I'm like, you know what? I didn't even think of that.
Right.
So I was still working and then my shift was overnight. So from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay.
So after that, I did real estate until I was tired and took a nap, got up, did more real estate till it was time to go back to work.
Gotcha. Wow.
So it was a lot. Till one day I used to ask God, like, man, I'm looking because I was looking for multifamily and I was looking for a way out. And I was looking, I didn't know where to start really on a multifamily.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I need to learn more and more about the apartments. And I'm always praying, I'm always asking them for stuff.
Sure.
One day I was coming home, I got into a bad accident.
Okay.
I hit a pole head on, fell asleep at the wheel, hit the pole head on. I'm talking about car total, doors, airbags, windows busted, everything. Wheel popped off and everything, Jose.
Wow.
Do you know I hopped out without a scratch, not an ache, not a nothing?
That's good.
And it was like, all right, you're working too many hours, you fell asleep at the wheel, time to you to focus on what you wanted to focus on. I
Sure.
never went back to work. I started drawing in any multifamily apartment real estate group there was. even if it was a paid one. I ended joining a paid mastermind called the Deal Room, and I got around people who was actually buying these apartment buildings, analyzing them, sponsoring loans, raising money, and I'm like, God opened up another door for me. So the first thing I did was learn what a deal was when it comes to multifamily, because you know, with residential, it go by comps. That's how you determine the value.
Right.
With multifamily, it go by cap rate. So it go by the money is generating. So you need to know how much money, you need to know how to read financials, plug them into the spreadsheet, and understand it to really know how much money is generating, because each apartment building is its own business. You might as well look at,
Right.
right?
So for the audience, can you explain what a cap rate is and how you would calculate it?
Yeah. So you got your in place cap rate, and that is calculated by the money is generating. So, for example, if you buying a property and they want $1 million and it's bringing in $100,000 after expenses,
So NOI.
which is called the NOI, which is the net operating income. You don't include the debt service because people got different interest rates. Some people don't even have debt, so they
Right.
don't include the debt service, but it goes by the expenses. So if it's 100,000 coming in after expenses, if you take that 100,000 and divide it by the purchase price, which is $1 million, that means you are buying at an in place cap rate. You're buying it at a 10 cap, which is like 10%,
Sure.
basically. So if you're buying it at a 10 cap and your interest rate is a 7 cap, you know you in the ball range for you to cash flow at least 3%.
Gotcha.
So
And
that
that
is
number is
called
good
that is
per investor, right? So some people want a bigger buffer between those two numbers, and some people are okay with that 3%, right?
correct. No, so that 3% is pretty good because with commercial real estate as well, you if you could add some way to add some type of value to generate more income, if it's
Mhm.
laundry or increasing rents or anything, that cap rate goes up, right? That money. So buying at a 10 cap when you got a 7% interest rate is pretty good when you're looking at a cash flow standpoint. Now you got your market cap rate, and each market got its own cap rate.
Mhm.
So the market cap rate determines the value of your building. So you take that same 100,000, say the market in Dallas where I'm at, it's between 4 to 6%. So we're gonna just use a 5% cap rate for
Okay.
this market. If I take that 100,000 and I divide it by that 5%, which means percent is cap rate, and you take it and divide it by 5%, you're gonna get the value of that building from the money is generating of the NOI.
So to give you basically what you should buy it for, or what you could pay for it, and be, for lack of better terms, market price.
It just give you a current, value of the building. Hey,
Sure.
this is the current value of it right now. If you use the cap rate according
That's
to the
fair.
money is generating, because most appraisals going to use that anyways.
So I know where I would get it, but I want you to tell me where you get yours. Where would you get that market rate from?
Market cap rate. So it's three different places I get them from, right? One, I Google, hey, what's the market cap rate in Dallas, Texas?
Right.
And when I do that, I click on an apartment loan store, and they give
Mhm.
you like a cap rate, a good gauge if you're just doing your initial underwriting and haven't done your due diligence yet and diving deeper into the deal. Sometimes you need to just do that underwriting, the initial underwriting, send your LOI because it's not binding. It's not a binding contract. It's just a letter of intent. And then when you get it more deeper and deeper into underline, if they're going to accept the LOI, or before you even go under contract and start your due diligence, you can start to verify some of your numbers that you have in your underwriting. Hey, it's the market cap rate in Dallas, and you get that to verify it. So I told you I Google apartment loan store.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't Google apartment loan store. I Google what's the market cap rate in Dallas. Then I click on apartment loan store.
Gotcha.
Secondly, they got CoStar. If
Yep.
you know someone with co-star and got co-star report, it's kind of pricey. That's another way you could get cap rates, right? You have brokers, but another way I verify my cap rate is calling local banks. Local banks deal with appraisals all the time, so they up to date on the market cap rate because they got to look at appraisals when they determine if they can give you the loan or not.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So multifamily, I learned how to underwrite the deal and know what a deal was.
Yep.
Once I learned how the deal was, knowing what a deal was, I was confident in sending out offers because I was in rooms already with people who can sponsor the loan, who know how to raise capital, gave me confidence on partnering with me if I actually found a good deal,
Yeah.
right? So I ended up finding a good deal my first year. Actually, four of them, right?
Yeah.
In my mind, it was good deals. All four of them fell through. All four of them, when we got deeper into due diligence, something was wrong that we couldn't buy it. Either the
Sure.
pipes, it was something like the financials wasn't correct. It was something. First four deals fell through.
So I found when you get in some of these smaller mom and pop type multifamily properties, that's the biggest thing is finances, right? Some of them got like napkin finances. I mean, trying to get a T12 or rent roll from some of these people is tough. So it's hard to evaluate or even do your underwriting. Do you find that same problem?
Yeah, with the smaller ones. So yeah, when we direct the seller on the smaller ones, like I'm buying a smaller 8 unit right now, and they have pretty much the husband died, left it with the wife. She wanted nothing to do with it. She had no idea where the finance was at because she had no clue what was going on with the property, right? So,
Yeah,
but when that happens, is I just underwrite off my performer, off my business plan, what I planned on doing with the property, anyways, and then it can give me kind of at least a projection,
sure.
right? If it's worth me buying it or not.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Um, But yeah, so currently buying an 8 unit. That does sometimes happen, but I deal with a lot of brokers,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of brokers like to have that stuff together when they sending it out and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So being that I got a lot of broker relationship, I don't run into that problem as much as other people, but I have ran into it.
Nice.
Yes. So when them four deals fell through, I ain't gonna lie, it was tough. I was not working,
Mm.
savings was going down, right? Wife, three kids. She like, man, I know you believe in what you're doing. You've been working hard, but like if something don't pan out, you might have to go back to work,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. Yep. I bet.
And I'm like, all right. I'm like, all right. I ended up finding another deal through one of my broker relationships. Her name Jenny. She's awesome. And this was the fifth deal that I had on the contract.
Mhm.
And I underwrote it. The numbers came out right. We negotiated some seller financing and everything. And the deal was pretty good. But now I'm like, do I get my hopes up? BD, right? Did due diligence on it. Man, everything passed. Everything went well. So
Nice.
now it's like, now I got to bring in the money, right? Now I got to raise 950,000, and I had 2 weeks to close,
Oh,
and
wow.
I had 19,000 of earnest money on the line, right?
Okay.
So
No
I'm
pressure.
I'm like, man, I never raised money before. So what I did was I reached out to everybody who ever told me if I ever had an opportunity, they would take a look.
Yeah.
I'm talking about cold calling every last person. Now, don't get me wrong, during my journey, even on the first four deals, I learned from my mentor that was in that group, the deal room, that we got to show people what we're doing. So I was documenting everything I was doing. I was showing people, I was teaching people whatever I learned because I learned that if I teach people what I learn, I get to learn it twice, right? I get to own it twice. So I always try to give as much as I know away. And by doing that, it attracted a lot of people to me.
Yeah.
And I raised that 950,000 in that 2 weeks for that 24 unit.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to talk to 76 people in that 2 week span, asking if they wanted to invest in that deal. A lot of people would have gave up on the first 30.
I'm sure.
You
Heck yeah.
know, like I got 70 no's, 6 yeses. Right.
That's awesome, dude.
And let me tell you about that deal. And the reason why I was so able to raise the capital for that deal, I was so confident in it because I was trying to make sure I looked at everything thoroughly before I even brought in any money. That's why I even got to the wire of 2 weeks left. Because of my other deals falling through, I
Mm-hmm.
made sure I was checking every single thing, going through everything, right? And I knew me. I knew, all right, I double checked these numbers. I double checked with the experts in the market. I called property managers asking them about rent comps. I called local banks asking about market cap rates. I talked to different contractors, got different bids on doing the renovations and everything, the timeline. So I'm confident in my numbers and my underwriting. It's
Right.
the only thing that will only hold me back with going to raise this money if I'm not confident and I'm gonna do 120% to get my.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna slack off, and I knew I wasn't gonna slack off, right?
Yeah.
Man, I was on that phone and I was talking, and I got that money, Jose. And let me tell you, that deal, construction went a little bit longer, stabilization took a little bit longer because the construction took a little bit longer.
Right.
But guess what? That deal was 100% occupied and bringing in 190,000 cash flow after debt service
Annually.
annually after debt. I'm talking about after everything.
Got you. Nice, man. Congrats.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
So
win.
that, don't get me wrong, that was a unicorn, but
Okay.
every deal ain't like that. But
Well, we
the
already know that,
total,
right? You went through 4 before you got to this one, or 5, right?
correct, 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 correct. So it's just been a journey. So since then, I'm probably closed. Looking at my board right here. 12 commercial deals, and I also do flips with my partner AJ. And
Yep.
we aiming for 20 a quarter. Just the last 60 days, we closed 11 of those.
Nice, dude. Way to
Yeah.
bring in a new year.
Yes,
That's
sir.
awesome.
Yes, sir. So now I'm just teaching other people how to underwrite, teaching other people how to at least do the quick analyze their deal on flips to running their comps, have how to build a realtor relationships to be able to have that go to sell even senior deals and run comps for you to make sure you're comfortable of even buying that deal.
Right.
So just different things, how I build my broker relationships and commercial real estate, so that you could stand out amongst other people because when you're buying these commercial real estates, they tend to try to vet you out because a lot of people as tire kickers can't really afford to buy these properties. And
Right.
most brokers don't want to be wasting their time tying up a property and stuff with their seller can lose a big nice commission off somebody who can't really buy a deal.
Gotcha.
So to get around that and you knew you want to find a deal because you got other people that'll help you close it. I teach people how to go around certain questions and talk to brokers to get them more deals flow.
Nice, man. So if they wanted to do that, do you have like a mentorship or something, or they just reach out to you and you guys have a conversation?
Yeah, so I don't have a mentorship, like a paid mentorship. But what we are doing is starting a group because I've been getting a lot of people who reach out to me to kind of go one on one and stuff like that. And it's
Sure.
kind of booking up my calendar now, right? So now I need to free it up. So we want to do it in like more of a group setting.
Sure.
So what we're doing now, we setting up a group. It'll be open next week. But if they wanted to reach out to me to find out more about it, they gonna definitely hit me up on social media. My name is just Phil Brooks
Yeah.
on Facebook. On Instagram is I'm Phil Brooks. On LinkedIn is just Phil Brooks on LinkedIn as well.
Nice.
So if anybody wanted to just inbox me, send me a message, friend request, I can definitely get back to them and send them the link once we start the group so that they can get in them group sessions of underwriting, analyzing deals, talking to brokers, talking to sellers, and building relationships.
That sounds like something I can benefit from. I'll have to make sure I send you a message so you get me in that group.
Now, I would love to have you there, Jose.
I'll be there.
Please, please. Like
Heck yeah.
like I said, I know God didn't give me this for me to hold on to it. So as many people I could give it to, I want to give it away.
So it's funny. I talked to your partner AJ before for this podcast, and I'm gonna be having him on the podcast tomorrow. But if I remember correctly, you own a construction company, or you got like a construction business. I'll put it that way. Is that a true
Correct.
statement?
Yeah, yes, I do. So what I did was I bought into a construction company to integrate it because I went through some construction things back home in Buffalo with contractors and not getting jobs done on time and timelines and things that everything costing more over budget. So I'm like, how can I control it more and still be able to grow the business without taking too much out my plate?
Right.
And I had a friend of mine who already owned a construction company. I knew him personally. I knew his integrity. I knew his intentions. So I'm like, you know what? This would be a good opportunity to integrate our company with a construction company that we can just control the jobs, control where they go, and everything. And we feed them so much work, they just work on our projects.
Nice.
So, so that's the way I did it. Yes.
So it's basically is it a per project or is it an equity type of arrangement?
Well, I own part of the equity. I
Gotcha.
own about 33%. It's three of us, and I own 33% of the company. So I own the real estate side, and now I'm part owner of the construction side. So what I did was they do a lot of our they don't really do no other projects. They do all of ours, to be honest with you.
Nice. Well,
And like I said, we buying
you're
20 a
busy.
quarter. Yes,
Go ahead.
sir. I didn't hear you, Jose. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said, of course they don't, because you keep them busy. That's the biggest thing when it comes to contractors. Like, as long as you can keep them busy, they'll take care of you and they'll make sure they keep you on time. But you doing one or two projects a year, they're gonna go where the money's at. They're not gonna always uh, take care of you, as they say. You know what I mean?
Yes. And definitely, and I truly understand because they have families to feed and everything as well. So if you ain't helping feed it, of course, right? And I'm actually in the middle of a process of buying a HVAC company.
Oh,
The
nice.
same way, so many HVACs problems here in definitely in the Texas area, and that's where we buy most of our flips at.
Okay.
So being that we buy most of our flips in the Texas area, we've been having a lot of foundation issues down here and a lot of AC issues. And I'm integrating that as well. And I'm growing his business, putting some systems and marketing in place to help grow it more. So it's just like, helping each other grow.
That's awesome, man. I mean, your journey, your life story is amazing. Um, but I kind of want to get back to the title of my podcast. Good, bad, and ugly. Can you share with us a good story? Like a deal that you closed that you're excited about, and then maybe one that was a horror story that people may be able to learn from.
Yeah, I got a couple of those. So the good story is I kind of touched base on one of my favorites where the 24 unit when I raised the 76K. I mean 76K. I raised the
Yeah.
950K for 76 people. I mean, I had to talk to 76 people. But the good thing on that deal is we was able to take the rents from 550 a month to 1186
Oh wow.
within a year, even though we budgeted to be done within like 8 months. We went like 4 months over. We had to fire one contractor, hire another contractor, right? This was
Sure.
before I bought into the contract construction company. I didn't have ownership yet.
Yeah.
And we had to get rid of, so that was one thing. And then the management company we had, they was hiring, getting rid of people, hiring, so we had to keep interviewing other people and managing other people. So it was kind of rocky to get it to where it got to. But like I said, that was one of the deals I negotiated seller financing, and I got a 4.5% interest rate for
Nice.
5 years, right? No, with 20% down.
Okay.
So that made the cash flow a lot higher. Our expenses is like 10 grand a month, but we bring in almost 30.
Okay.
So, so
Those numbers work for me just fine.
yeah. So that's the good news of it. Like
Yeah.
you could build wealth in real estate if you buy right and you have good operators that's gonna stick you through, and you got good connections, or going to sit through the bad connections to get to the good connections.
Right.
And always have great intentions and have integrity going in whatever you do. So everything we buy, we want to add value to it. Not going to be a slumlord. I grew up poor. I'm not going to have other people living in that conditions where
Right.
the way I grew up, right?
Gotcha.
So I'm always trying to make. If I can't add value to it, I don't want it. Put it
Yeah.
that way. So that's the good part of the real estate. The bad part is you don't always got good people. You do got to go through them bad connections. I
Yeah.
went through a few. I just went through another one because we just growing so much. I had one contractor where he was getting the work done, but he wasn't paying the subs.
I've had that problem.
And yeah, and I caught him. Luckily, we caught on a little quicker than we thought. I mean, we caught on quicker than he expected, because he would have got us for a lot more. He only got us for, I won't say only, but he got us for like 20 grand, right?
It could be worse.
It could be worse.
I got
So
taken
that's
for
why I
more
say,
than
yeah,
that.
because the next draw was like for like 90, right?
Mhm.
Because what he did was we had 3 projects going on at once, and he pushed all the projects, telling them, hey, it's in draws, we're gonna pay
Yeah.
him. And I gave him 20 grand to keep things going so he won't until the draws would come. He
Yep.
never gave him a dime, he never did none of that. And then when the draws came, one of the subs called me, and I'm like, I just got the draw. It was supposed to come that Friday, but it didn't come that Monday, right?
Yep.
So they must have felt like he wasn't gonna pay, right? But now they all calling me, they all calling me, they all calling me. I'm like, what is going on? Like, is he known for not paying or something?
Right.
Like what is going on? Come to find out, they was they never received a dollar anytime for any of the work that they did, not even material. And thank God we always got working capital. He got us for the working capital, but he didn't get us for the capital that
For the project. Yeah.
keep the project going.
Nice, man. That's good. I take mine to court and still getting that finalized. So I feel your pain on that.
Yeah, man. People, man. And he even came back to the job site before we got cameras. We always got cameras on our job sites,
Yeah.
and he stole some tools. Like, you came back and stole tools, really?
Yeah.
Like, you
That's
already
great.
got me for 20 grand. You're gonna come back and steal tools. Like,
You know. That 20 grand came and went. Then he didn't have that no more. He needed
Yeah.
the tools so he can make 20 more grand from somebody else.
Right, right. True, true, true.
So one thing I learned about you talking to AJ is, you haven't mentioned this. I want to make sure people know this about you. You're not just in Dallas, right? You guys got like 4 or 5 states that you guys are doing projects in. Can you share a little bit
Yes.
about that real quick?
Yes. So we like the Sun Belt states,
Hmm.
the landlord friendly states. So we currently in Northwest Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Mississippi, the Carolinas, um, Louisiana. I'm just trying to make sure I ain't missing Louisiana
You guys
and
going to
Tennessee
Iowa where he's at?
and Iowa. And Iowa, we in Iowa as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
cool. I just
So
want
we
to
in
make sure
seven.
people understand that, after you shared this whole journey, that you started off with, like you said, nothing, right? Came from nothing. And now you have a construction company, about to have an HVAC company. In the last 60 days, got 11 properties that you're getting ready to take down, and you're in roughly, let's say, 8 to 10 states. You know, that's a monumental accomplishment in the time that you've been here. So my hat's off to you, man.
I appreciate that, Jose. Yeah, 'cause now currently I'm over 200, 200
Units,
units. Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Currently I'm a little bit over 200. And I got into the multifamily space. I got into the accident in 22,
yeah.
2022.
So
And that one mentor said, why buy one and you could buy 10? And I ended up 20 times in that.
there you go.
Yeah, that's crazy. It blows
What
my
happens
mind.
when you think small and someone shows you you can think big? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then getting the rooms when people is even bigger is like crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, because my that 200 is 200, but I know a lot of people with a lot of more.
I'm gonna put a plug in right here. So I belong to the Sub Two community with Pace Morby. I'm an owners club and Gator, and also Astro Flipping with Jamil Damji. And this year we have our Squad Up Summit in March, last week of March in Dallas. So
Squad up.
yep, if you don't go, then at least let me know where you're gonna be at, because I'll be in Dallas, so we can at least grab coffee or a drink, whatever.
I
But for
want to miss squad up. You think I'm about to miss meeting up with all them people? I ain't missing squad
it's
up.
gonna be
Yeah.
crazy, man. The energy of that place is gonna be insane. Let me tell you that much, insane.
Yes, sir. Every year it is. Last year was it? Where was it? Florida.
Orlando, yep.
Yep. Yeah.
This is the second one that they've had, so I'm excited. I mean, not only for the people that I've been known since last April, but the new people that I'm gonna meet too. You know what I mean? That's the part that is exciting, especially the ones that are just getting into it and just seeing their excitement of, oh my gosh, I want to do this. I want. How can you help me? How can that help, that serving others is just, it's
That's
good.
the best
It's
way.
good. Good for my soul.
Trust me. When I say I wouldn't be nowhere in this business if I ain't going, that's my whole mentality.
Yeah.
Like I don't want nothing unless I add value. Like I don't even want you to invest in my deal unless I'm giving you so much value that you want to be in my deal, right?
Yeah.
That's how most of everybody who come into my deal is you added so much value to me. It was like only right. Like it was like a no-brainer to me
Right.
because that's the way you don't gotta do nothing. You don't gotta give me anything.
Yeah.
But like I said, I get to own it twice. I get to own it twice. So I just try to give it as much as I can, Jose.
Agreed, man. Agreed. So I know you already gave everybody your socials, but let's do it one more time so you have it at the end. And don't worry if you don't catch it when he says it. I'm gonna put it in the description so y'all that don't have a pencil and paper right now, don't you'll get it. So go ahead and shoot it out for me one more time, Phil.
Yeah, so on Facebook, it's just Phil Brooks. On Instagram, it's I'm Phil Brooks. That is IMPHILBROOKS. And then on LinkedIn is I'm Phil Brooks as well.
Nice, man. Well, I got to tell you, man, just listening to your story, listening to your journey, your accomplishments, it is definitely what's the word I'm looking inspirational. I guess is the best word to say, because a lot of people that may watch this channel or watch this video, they're like, how do I do this? How can I get involved? Or I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have rich parents, um, I don't have a fund, right? I don't have no um, money market account, and you just show people just by telling your story. This is the reason why I have this channel. Is that you don't have to have. There's ways you can find ways to make it happen. Like you said, getting in the right rooms, making the right connections, saving a little bit. There are 19-year-olds that got more houses than I do because they saved their babysitting money and then they just kept doing house hacking. So um, there's where there's a will, there's a way. That's all I gotta say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And just gotta stay consistent. Once you go into things knowing that, hey, it's gonna be some storms, it's gonna be some struggles. It may take a little bit longer, but it's sunshine at the end of it. It's gonna like at least you know that you're gonna go in there. It's more likely for you to keep pushing through. Just like when
Absolutely.
I go to the gym every morning, 5 a.m. I know it's gonna hurt. I know it.
Right.
And I do it for the push through because
Sure.
I know I'm gonna get a reward at the end.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, folks, that wraps up another episode of the good, bad, and ugly about real estate with Jose. Phil, again, thank you for giving us some of your time today. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot about you. I learned a lot about your journey. As I mentioned before, it's very inspiring, and I hope that people that are watching this are inspired as much as I am. That reach out to you through your social media contacts, and take advantage of the education and wisdom that you want to share, because it's very very rare that somebody wants to share of themselves like you're offering without um, wanting something in return, or trying to sell it for some money. So good on you for that. Until next time, fam. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Thanks, Jose.